Let's talk about my top 5 most anticipated DC Omnis for the spring of 2025. Welcome back to Comics Are Dope. I'm BJ Kicks, and this is another episode of Top 5 where I count down my top 5 of whatever. This time, we're talking about the top 5 DC collected editions coming in the spring of 2025. I took a couple weeks off from this series. I went to GalaxyCon, then I went out of town, and while I was away, a whole lot of announcements went down. So first, DC announces the DC All In and Absolute Universe and all that stuff. Then the leak of all leaks happens. I'm joking, it wasn't a leak, but Penguin Random House did update their DC and Marvel catalogs for spring of 2025. And so we know about a whole lot of collected editions coming from like February all the way up to August. And so this video, I was going to count down my top 5. I wanted to limit it to 5. I really did, because that's the name of the show. But hear me out. There are so many books. So instead, you're going to get two top 5s. You're going to get my top 5 deluxe editions. I'm going to lump the deluxe editions and the trade paperbacks all together. And then you're going to get my top 5 DC Omnis coming in the spring of 2025. And look, we don't have any time to waste, so let's get right into those deluxe editions. So first up on my most anticipated list is Batman Beyond the White Knight, the deluxe edition. This is coming out March 18th of 2025. So fairly early in the spring. This collects Batman Beyond the White Knight issues 1 through 8. White Knight Presents Red Hood issues 1 and 2. So if you've been following the White Knight universe, which for my money is some of the best Batman stories of the last decade, then you had Batman White Knight, then you had Curse of the White Knight. And I don't think the Harley Quinn book has gotten a deluxe edition yet. And then after that, you had the Batman Beyond the White Knight. Maybe Harley Quinn did get a deluxe. I'll have to look into that. But anyway, the point is, this is the latest in the Sean Gordon Murphy White Knight universe. If you're following that and you wanted to wait for deluxe editions, well, there you go. March 18th, 2025 with a cover price of $49.99. Definitely on my most anticipated list. Next up, another deluxe edition coming April 22nd. By the way, all these dates are subject to change. It's going to be the Dark Knights of Steel Deluxe Edition. This collects the complete Dark Knights of Steel story, so issues 1 through 12, written by Tom Taylor with art by Yasmin Putri. If you did not read this in single issues, it was awesome. It's Tom Taylor doing his Tom Taylor Elseworlds thing. So the man who brought you Deceased and Injustice is now bringing you Dark Knights of Steel. And this is basically like the DC universe, but with like a medieval sort of Game of Thrones skin on top of it. So it's all the characters that you know and love, all the characters that you're familiar with, but playing slightly different roles than you might expect. In some cases, very different roles than you would expect, and trying to secure peace among the 3 kingdoms. What are the 3 kingdoms? Well, check it out to find out. Dark Knights of Steel Deluxe Edition is out April 25th with a cover price of $49.99. Next up is the Superman Up in the Sky Deluxe Edition. Superman Up in the Sky, written by Tom King with art by Andy Hubert. This is one of the best Superman stories I've read. When I did my official review, I did rank it like slightly below some of the all-time greats, but only slightly. This book or this story has its origins in the DC Walmart 100-page giant program. And so I want to say it was like 10 or 12 really short chapters, but this is following Superman. Superman is on a mission to save this little girl who has gone missing, and he's got to go through all sorts of places in the galaxy, the universe, to find this girl and avenge her. Or is it avenge? I don't know. I guess you'll find out when you read it. But this book really does a great job of showing the heart of Superman and sort of the perseverance of Superman, how Superman will go to any length to protect even the seemingly most minuscule of innocent people that other people might let perish in a similar situation. Really loved it. And by the way, This originally came out, like I said, in those DC Walmart giants, and then it had the 6 issues in the direct market, which were then collected into a standard size hardcover that has been notoriously hard to find. It came out during COVID. It came and went really quickly. So that standard hardcover has been really highly sought after. This deluxe edition is your chance to get it. If you missed out, you should absolutely pre-order it. Cover price on it is $34.99. And speaking of pre-ordering, every book that I'm talking about today is already up for pre-order at our channel sponsor, Organic Price Books. So go to organicpricebooks.com. You can check out the brand new catalog and you can pre-order all these titles. Any of these titles. If you just want to get 1 or 2 books, use the code BJKicks at checkout. You'll save $2 on that order and you'll be supporting the channel by doing so. Now, if you decide you want to order 4 books or more because this top 10 list is just so amazing to you, well, use code BJKicks, ship it together. You'll save 5% on that order, and all of the books that you will place or order in that order, all the books that you place in that order will come in one nice, convenient package and with a savings of 5%. So check them out. Thanks to Organic Price Books for sponsoring this video. Now, let's get back to the list with a deluxe edition coming in February that I could not be more excited about. This is the Far Sector Deluxe Edition. Far Sector, written by N.K. Jemisin with art. With art by Jamal Campbell. And man, this book is awesome. So this is the book that introduces us to the newest member of the Green Lantern Corps, Sojourner Mullen. She is a former police officer that has been promoted to Green Lantern, if you will, and assigned to the farthest sector in the galaxy, universe, whatever we're calling DC space. And she's sent there to solve a murder. And this murder that takes place on this planet is literally the first murder in the planet's existence. And so she's got to unwind this mystery, put her detective skills to use, and figure out what exactly happened. And as she figures out who the murderer is, she uncovers a whole political scheme and just scandal and outrage and intrigue. It's really good. It's really, really good. And I'm not even a big sci-fi fan. But besides the story being really good, Jamal Campbell's artwork. Listen, if Jamal Campbell draws something, you buy it. End of story. That's it. But this is such a beautiful book. I cannot wait to get this deluxe edition in my hands. It makes me so much less upset that I forgot to buy the trade paperback, because this deserves to be oversized. I don't know why it has taken 4 years for us to get this book, but hey, it's coming now, April 22nd, 2025, with a cover price of, whoops, I read the wrong date, February 11th, 2025, with a cover price of $49.99. Now, the last of the deluxes and trade paperbacks. I said there was trade paperbacks in here. This is the only trade paperback on the list, and it has beat all of these deluxe editions as my most anticipated on the list this for this spring. Is Milestone Compendium, issue number 4, or Milestone Compendium 4 is what it's called. This is the 4th, as implied in the title, of the Milestone Compendiums. Now, ever since I started buying these compendiums and covering them on this channel and for our sponsor, Organic Price Books, I have always assumed that it was just going to take 4 volumes to collect all of the OG Milestone stuff. Now, these compendiums are collecting everything from the 1993 to 1997 Milestone Comics run. That's what is all in here. So the origins of Icon, Blood Syndicate, Hardware, and of course, Static, who later starred in the animated series Static Shock. All of that stuff has its origins in the original Dakota universe. And I'm taking for granted that you know what that is because you're watching me, and I clearly talk about that stuff a lot. But just in case you don't know, now you know. So I assumed that it was going to take 4 volumes to collect the 4 years of Milestone's publishing history. But in fact, there's got to be a 5th volume on the way, because what's collected in here is not everything. We're getting Blood Syndicate issues 28 through 32, Hardware issues 29 through 38, Icon issue 28 through 37, Static issues 26 through 31, Zombie issues 12 through 21, Shadow Cabinet issues 14 through 17, My Name is Holocaust, the full miniseries issues 1 through 5, and The Long Hot Summer, also the full miniseries issues 1 through 3. Now, if I remember correctly, that does round out Shadow Cabinet. Shadow Cabinet only went 17 issues. And Zombie only went 21. So what we do have left that needs to be collected in a future volume 5 will be Blood Syndicate issues 33 through 35, Hardware issues 39 through 50, Icon issues 38 through 42, Static issues 32 through 45, and what is still missing, if I remember correctly, it's not in the other volumes. We still need the Wise Son, the White Wolf miniseries. That's issues 1 through 4 by Ho-Che Anderson. And as a bonus, if they collect the 2010 Milestone Forever 2-issue miniseries, which was basically served as like an epilogue for all the Milestone stories, that would just put the nice ribbon on top of the Milestone universe in its original iteration. So hopefully they do that, but that's getting ahead of ourselves. We got Milestone Compendium 4. That's coming February 4th, 2025, just in time for us to celebrate Dwayne McDuffie's birthday, and hope that in 2026 we'll get that volume 5. But that is a compendium with a cover price of $60. So a super thick trade paperback is what that is. And that's at the top of my most anticipated outside of the Omnis. But now let's get into all the DC Omnis that are coming out in the spring. And I got to tell you, man, this was the hardest part to narrow down to a top 5. But hey, we got to do it. Now, in no particular order, maybe I'll rank these as I'm doing it, actually. Yeah, I guess I will. So, at number 5, my most anticipated DC Omnis in the spring. Coming out April 8th, 2025, we're getting the Justice League by Scott Snyder and James Tynion omnibus. Now, Justice League by Scott Snyder, when I started reading comics, we were like in the middle of that run in 2019. And I didn't really pick up Justice League until Scott Snyder left to start doing the things that would set up death metal. But this is going to collect all of his run on Justice League, which basically, if you're looking at the omnibus format, this is going to slot just between Dark Knight's Metal and Dark Knight's Death Metal. This collects Aquaman 41 and 42, Teen Titans 28, Justice League No Justice, issue 1 through 4, Justice League proper, issues 1 through 25, the Justice League and Aquaman Drowned Earth Special, number 1, which is not to be confused with the Aquaman Justice League Drowned Earth Special, issue number 1, which is also in here. Then we get the Batman Who Laughs, issues 1 through 7, so that's the full miniseries, or maxi. Is a maxi anything more than 6? Anyway, and the Justice League Annual, issue number 1. The only thing that's not in here is the Year of the Villain miniseries, which does set up Dark Knight's Death Metal, and maybe that's included in the Dark Knight's Death Metal omnibus. So, I don't know. Take it with a grain of salt. I do own the Death Metal omnibus. Anyway, that I feel like helps set up Death Metal, so maybe it's in the Death Metal omnibus. But all that is in that book with a cover price of $150. And like I said, currently slated for April 8th, 2025, though all these books are subject to delays and whatnot. Next up in this order, I'm excited for Batman by James Tynion Omnibus Volume 1. So at the number 4 spot, Batman by James Tynion, this run was really, really hotly anticipated. A lot of people were kind of sour toward the tail end of Tom King's run. And when they announced James Tynion was going to take over Batman with issue 86, I remember the collective yes from the crowd. And basically, James Tynion was like, he had this whole manifesto. I'm going to make Batman an action horror. And everybody was like, yes, give us that. And then he gave us that. So Batman by James Tynion starts with Batman issues 86 through 100. But we also get in here Red Hood Outlaw 48, Nightwing 70 to 74, Batgirl 47 to 49, Harley Quinn 75, Detective Comics 1020 to 1026, Catwoman 25, Batman Secret Files number 3. Love that issue. The Joker 80th Anniversary 100-page super spectacular number 1. Stories from Batman Volume 1, Their Dark Designs, and Batman The Joker Warzone, issue number 1. So James Tynion's run on Batman starts off with a bang. This Volume 1, Their Dark Designs, this storyline where, well, there's a new villain in Gotham, and we got to try to figure out who this villain is, and can Bruce Wayne stop that guy? And the events of that volume are what set up the event that became the Joker War. And the Joker War ran from Batman issues 95 to 100 and took over the entire Batman office, which is why there are so many ancillary titles in this omnibus. And it was action-packed, and I really liked it. Maybe it's because it was my first Batman event and I was just super hyped up, but I have great memories of literally being on vacation with my wife, but having packed the entire Joker War in my backpack so I could binge it at once. I love the stories in this Volume 1 of the James Tynion Omnibus. James Tynion's run on Batman does continue all the way up until issue 117, I believe, is his last issue. I think it starts over with 118. Maybe I'm getting that wrong, but the point is there's still enough content for another volume, especially after we get like the Ghostmaker and Miracle Molly and stuff like that. But anyway, we'll talk about Volume 2 whenever Volume 2 is solicited. All you need to know is that Volume 1 is definitely worth the money. Cover price on it is $125. And it's coming out March 4th, 2025. The next up on the most anticipated Omnis list for me, coming in at number 2, is Batman War Games. This is coming out on July 15th, 2025. It is set for that date anyway, with a cover price of $125. Now, you might know that I just recently signed up for the Fan Home Batman subscription. And for a long time, one of the draws to that Legends of Batman subscription is that it was the only place where the Bruce Wayne fugitive and Bruce Wayne murderer storyline was collected, and also the only place where Batman War Games was collected. Well, Murderer turned Fugitive is in an omnibus coming out later this year, and this one, Batman War Games, has now just been solicited, and so now I am even more of a double dipper. So there's that. But I've never read this event. Obviously, I just collect Batman because Batman is my favorite, and it is my goal to have the entirety of Batman post Crisis on Infinite Earths at this point in whatever format I can get it in, but I would prefer it in omnibus or that really cool connecting spine set. And so right now I'm signed up to have both, which is crazy. But anyway, this collects Batman Legends of the Dark Knight issues 182 to 184, Batman 631 to 634, skip a few issues, then 642 to 644, Detective Comics 790 to 800, and then 809 to 810, Robin 126 to 131, Nightwing 96 to 98, Batman Gotham Knights 56 to 58, Batgirl 53, and then 55 through 57, Catwoman 34 to 36, Solo issue number 10, Batman Allies Secret Files number 1, Batman the 12th Cent Adventure number 1, and Batman Villains Secret Files issue number 1. Just reading that solicit list, like there's a lot that's in there that I have heard about, and like the 12th Cent Adventure, I've heard great things about, but a lot of this I've never read. So I'm excited about grabbing that in omnibus format. And I just realized this is actually the number 3 spot on my most anticipated list because I forgot about the next one. But anyway, this is coming out. Batman War Games is coming out July 15th, 2025. Cover price is $125. Now, next up, by default, is number 2 on the list, even if I meant to include it earlier. Nightwing by Tom Taylor, Omnibus, Volume 1, is coming out July 22nd, 2025, so just 1 week later. As a matter of fact, a lot of this stuff is coming out really close to each other, but whatever. July 22nd, this is going to collect Nightwing issue 78 through 100, Batman Urban Legends issue number 10, the Nightwing 2021 annual, and then the Superman Son of Kal-El issue number 9, which is a crossover between Nightwing and Superman Son of Kal-El, both of which written by Tom Taylor. Now, this run is by Tom Taylor and mostly Bruno Redondo on art, although there are fill-in artists throughout the run. As of right now, the run is still ongoing. Nightwing is going to, or Tom Taylor's run on Nightwing is going to end, I want to say with issue 120, it might be 119. So still got another pretty much half of this run to go in omnibus format. But this is the book that really put Nightwing on the map for me. I've always enjoyed Dick Grayson, but Dick Grayson's never really been my favorite Robin, because Damian Wayne is my favorite Robin. And I had never really read a Nightwing book. I never read the Chuck Dixon stuff or anything else. But Nightwing by Tom Taylor came at such an interesting time because so many people were hating on Nightwing during Rebirth. He was not himself for a very long time until James Tynion fixed that during the Joker War. And, well, let's just say it got fixed, and then Tom Taylor was off to the races. Starting with issue 78, we get a new status quo for Nightwing, or for Dick Grayson. And what this book really highlights to me is how, I don't know, if Alfred is the heart of the Bat family and like the only real father figure in the room, then Nightwing is like the joy of the Bat family. Like, Nightwing is the person that chooses to be an optimist and is just really, really good. But yeah, that's just how things go. Nightwing is awesome, and this book solidifies it for me. Nightwing and Barbara Gordon have a great romance here. This introduces you to Haley, the three-legged dog, and other things that I don't want to spoil, and stuff that is still ongoing. So I can't spoil even if I wanted to. But Nightwing by Tom Taylor, if you're a Nightwing fan, if you're a Dick Grayson fan, this is absolutely one to grab. Dare I say, maybe even above some of the Chuck Dixon stuff based on what I've heard, but I've only heard it. I never read Chuck Dixon, so I can't even put myself out there like that. But grab that. Like I said, July 22nd, cover price on it is $100. And now, yeah, we read 5. So now we are at the number 1 most anticipated omnibus coming in the spring of 2025 from DC Comics. And for me, it is Superman by Philip Kennedy Johnson, Omnibus Volume 1. This is coming out July 1st. So again, July is going to be a stacked month for me. We got Superman on the 1st. We got Batman War Games on the 15th. We got Batman or Nightwing by Tom Taylor on the 22nd. Every week, DC's dropping heat. You would think they were Marvel Comics or something. But anyway, Superman by Philip Kennedy Johnson. This is the run that made me care about Superman in ongoing books, like just straight up. I had never been a big Superman fan. I have read, select Superman stories from the past that have kind of warmed me up to him. But I never felt like I needed to follow Superman from month to month until this run started. And it probably helps that this run started pretty much at the same time my daughter was born. And fatherhood is a big theme in the early issues of this book. Speaking of the early issues, let's talk about what's collected. So Superman by Philip Kennedy Johnson, Volume 1 collects Action Comics issue 1029 through 1049. Superman 29 through 32. Infinite Frontier, issue 0, Superman The Authority 1 through 4, Superman Son of Kal-El 16 through 18, Action Comics the 2022 annual, and then the Batman Superman Authority Special number 1, and the Superman War World Apocalypse issue number 1. Listen, man, the War World saga has been collected in a compendium, and that's cool. That's all well and good. I'm happy for them. Right? I'm going to let you finish. But this run of Superman by Philip Kennedy Johnson that spans the pages of Action Comics and then dips in and out of other titles as well deserves to be seen in the largest format possible. I know you can't do an absolute War World saga. That would be like 5 absolutes. But This book is great. It's got artwork by Riccardo Federici, if I remember correctly. Mikhail Hanin does some stuff. Listen, the book is a joy to look at, and it's got the Gladiator, Superman, and all that. But basically, in this story, John Kent basically is in the future for a long time, comes back, and is like, "Hey, by the way, I've been to the future, and you're not there. At some point, you are going to die and never return to this planet." And all of a sudden, there's a big event that causes Superman to have to leave and go to this other planet, Warworld. And this whole time, you have this whole thing in the back of your head like, yo, Superman doesn't make it out of this. Superman doesn't make it out of this. And it's just great. Like, this is the book. This is one of those quintessential Superman stories. Like, Superman is your favorite superhero's favorite superhero. He is like what every superhero should aspire to be. And this run, even though he's not in the classic red and blues and stuff like that, really, really solidifies it. And then in volume 2, or what should be in volume 2, he comes back to Earth and shows us all the same things. Did that spoil it? That doesn't spoil it. You guys know Superman isn't going to die. Read the book. I promise I didn't spoil anything. But anyway, Superman by Philip Kennedy Johnson. This book is amazing. I read it all in single issues. I want to read it all again, but I'm going to read it in omnibus format when it comes out on July 1st, 2025, with a cover price of $125. And like I said, there's still plenty of stuff after this run that can be collected, because Philip Kennedy Johnson was on from Action Comics 1050 all the way up through, 7, 8 issues ago? So plenty of stuff there. So anyway, Superman by Philip Kennedy Johnson, gotta be my most anticipated omnibus of 2025. It was one that I voted for in my most wanted DC omnis, and I'm glad to see it's there. And that was it. My top 5 deluxe editions, my top 5 omnis. This is my top 10 most anticipated DC collected editions in 2025. I gotta say, if this is how they start in the year, I can't wait to see what the back half looks like. But this video has been way too long. Let me know in the comments down below which books you're excited about. I'll leave a link to the full catalog so you can see that. And check out Organic Price Books to pre-order any of the things that I mentioned here or anything else. I'll see you in another video soon. Until then, stay safe, stay awesome, and read something dope today. Peace.